Thank you, David. So usual procedure, we'll talk about action points, blockers. I think there's going to be a couple of people switching up what they're doing today, depending on how much progress people made. And then testing, that's where we're going to be going next. So if we could just have a quick whip around and see how everyone's going. We can start with Sinead. I don't know, Sinead and Finola.
We thought that we were done because we had like our SME review with Kate, and then there was kind of an issue on our form where the attorney has to send it to be signed to the party, and yeah, we put our issue in the code channel and we're kind of working through it now, but we don't know if it's because we can't really test a part of it that we think we need because we don't have American phone numbers. So Caroline messaged us and she offered her phone number, so we're just going to test that to see if that's our problem after this Zoom call.
Okay, fantastic. That's perfect. So then maybe you can just keep me updated. Just keep us updated in the code channel, because I know for a fact that I think it's going to be Aubrey and Matt. You guys are doing the marriage without delay.
Yeah,
that's something similar, not exactly the same because it's not the attorney filling out the form, but it is going to have to be two people signing. So that might be something that you guys just keep an eye out on. That it's been mentioned in the code channel. So if you do come across that when you're doing a form,
we're going to have that as well on the motion to dismiss essential eviction as well.
More than one person if you have two tenants.
Yeah.
Okay. So perhaps this is, I'm not sure, just from the understanding, I think that the Sinead's form, I'm conscious about getting too much in the weeds, but just to give maybe a brief update, it's the form that's going to be filled in by an attorney and then needs to get sent to the clients for signature. Is that correct, Sinead?
Yeah. We looked at Quinton's form and then we looked at the basic questions, but we've tried it 2 different ways and it doesn't really seem to be working. So I think we can only kind of test it with the QR code, but even at that, depending on which one you use, sometimes the QR code, you can only continue the interview from your phone, you can't continue it from your laptop. So we just need to maybe test out a few more things before. We thought we were finished, but maybe we need to just fix that glitch.
So we'll give it
do we have a form that has a working workflow for that they can test out and see what the problem is so that there's less factors they're guessing at, right?
Not that I know of, where we have 2 signatures on one form.
Not yet.
Okay. So you guys are doing the pilot.
Yeah, I can help you find that code. So I think the basic questions only handles one signature by default, but it's built to allow you to say 2 people have to sign. But you have to configure a certain variable manually. So
Can we ask you to record that, please, Quinton? If everyone consents, just record that, because what I found is yesterday we were coding on the pet protection form. I was just helping out Alex, and we watched a couple of the videos that you put up, Quinton, and just videos that you've taken other team members through, and it was really helpful because I guess we're all kind of going through the same issues eventually. So it was really, really helpful to see you guys puzzle through that one. And it was really funny because you were asking people like what the answers were. I think it was like Jason, James, and some other people. And Alex was there answering the questions, and I'm like, they can't hear you, right? Like he's like, put a colon. Anyway, so that was a really funny call. It was, yeah. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind recording those, maybe even just office hours or something like that. If you have an issue that you think might come up more than once, it's very handy to have those, and it also prevents people asking you more than once.
Yeah, no, those are both good ideas. It'll be a little different because the 2 signature flow, but I think it's still helpful for the reasons you said. The 2 signature flow for this case is different. You're sending it to a different person to sign, and you're signing it yourself. You're always the user.
Whereas Aubrey and Matt's form is specifically just 2 people signing. So the user and somebody else will be signing it. That's the marriage without delay. So maybe on that in that vein, we can just check in with Aubrey and Matt. How are you guys doing?
So me and Aubrey have kind of been working independently and trying to upload it to the GitHub. But as far as on my end, we ran into a syntax error at first, and we're still kind of trying to work through the code, I guess. We're at a parser error now, and trying to just figure out what's wrong with it.
And you remember the rule of not spending too long trying to bang your head against something, and that you've got to put it in the channel if you get stuck. And really, we do all put it in the channel, so you don't have to feel like you're gonna ask a stupid question. Sometimes the answer is really easy, like apostrophe in the wrong place. And Quentin is great at just looking at something and then just calling it out. So yeah, keep going with that, and then we'll check in with you guys tomorrow. I realize that the action point for Sinead and Finola is just to also just keep chugging away on that code, and obviously just keep us updated in the code channel.
I have to say that Sinead and Finola, you guys, I had a quick look at your YAML. It's just amazing what you guys have done. And it's like
Everybody,
a week, right?
Everybody, I'm so impressed.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Really, guys. So we're hoping for big things from Nick and Jack now. Because I'm going to check in with Nick and Jack. They started yesterday.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
So we actually got to run we got the actual files run. Like, remember yesterday we couldn't even get it to start.
I
So
do remember.
the problem there. And so everything works except for we have one small issue with I think we might have to do as SME review for this, but there's two signatures. So there's one just like it's an application. So it's the child requiring assistance application or motion to dismiss CRA, and there's the signature for the application or for the motion, but then there's a separate signature for you certifying that there's been an affidavit. And
an affidavit of service.
Yeah, and so it's two separate signatures, and I think we don't know whether or not that's has to be signed every time, or if there could be times where you sign just the first one or not the second one.
So I think maybe, I'm not sure, Caroline, are you the CRA expert here?
I'm not the expert. I have to go back and look at it and see what the content is.
Maybe you could talk to Nick and Jack?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we would love because it'd be one of those things where it'd be perfect if we didn't have to make it conditional, like if whether every time they would have to do the certification of affidavit. But I'm wondering if there's certain times where you wouldn't do that as well.
I'll go back and look at the form, and I've got 2 attorneys who helped me do the CRA stuff, so I can talk to them about it as well.
Perfect.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you so much. So I'll just leave it to you two to liaise offline.
Okay.
Then we've got Jason and Eleni. I think James is not here. No, so just you two. What's going on with you guys?
So we met with Kate this morning to just go over what we could improve and fix, and we found maybe 3 or 4 things that we're gonna work on
okay.
Over today and tomorrow morning just to get them solved.
Okay, perfect. So then maybe we'll check in tomorrow and hopefully we're ready for testing. Then the next one is Mike and Tyler. Just Mike though.
Yeah, so I kind of hit a blocker with the layout because I have a couple of different branches coming off mine, and I just can't get it to go the way that I need it to. So I was hoping someone could help me try to figure that out. Other than that, once I get that figured out, everything else should be good to go. Touch
wood. Does anybody have availability today to help Mike with that? Michelle, Quentin? It sounds like something that maybe, the more people like me might not be qualified to help with.
I might. I could take that on.
Okay, so Michelle and I actually have a call at 1. So maybe, I'm not sure how long that call's going to run, Michelle, but maybe at 2. Or I'll leave it to you two guys to liaise offline.
Okay.
Okay.
Message me, Michael, because I won't remember. I have a lot of DMs open, so just ping me.
Yeah, Michelle, full of DMs, eh? So then we got some very exciting stuff from Vinny and Mia, who have moved into the testing stage of the form that they did with Jack. As I said, the testing stage is still a work in progress. So what we've actually done is I've shown them a little bit how it works and the kind of overall concept of how we're going to test these things, and then tasked them with creating some test scenarios for the form that they did. They came up with a kind of alternative. As I said, we're developing this as we go. So it's not something that's, it's everything that if you see something we can do better, if you see something that looks like it could be improved, this isn't a set process. Everything can be developed as we go along. So we really appreciate people coming forward with better ideas, or ideas to how to improve and make things more efficient. And Vinny and Mia have done that with the testing scenario. I'm actually going to talk to Michelle about that after this call, and perhaps I asked if Vinny and Mia could just stay on for 5 minutes and we can just discuss that. And hopefully we'll be able to get testing tomorrow on that form and then lead the way with that. I don't think anyone else is really ready for that at the moment, but maybe tomorrow we might be there. Right, so action points. I just want to confirm that everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody's got something to do. No one feels like they're out at sea. I don't know where I was going with that. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you're good to go? Oh, Lenny was so quick on the draw there. I'm feeling confident that everybody does. Okay, so the next thing is just maybe an update on the kind of the forms that are out and live and what's happening there. And I'm kind of looking at David and Quentin for something on that point. There's something really specific that I want to know, just if there's any general updates.
Just not really. We're starting to receive some data on stuff. We realized we need to put some IDs on some of the existing stuff in the wild so that we can collect data on drop-off points.
Okay.
And I actually just did that this morning for the TRO.
All right.
Sorry.
So he just did that this morning for the TRO.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So is that something that we need to be emphasizing to developers, that they're supposed to be putting IDs on the questions?
Yeah. I think
Yeah. We didn't have any training on it or documentation yet, really, but it's pretty straightforward. But yes, it is added.
It's just in the question block, and maybe what we can do is we'll just put an example in the code channel. The reason we want to use IDs is so that when we can easily identify when people are dropping off, for example, or if there's an issue with a question, it's just more easy to identify when you have an ID for the question. So we'll just show you what that looks like in the code channel. It's an addition of one line of code to each question, right, Quentin?
Mm-hmm.
Just ID colon and then an ID. Okay.
And it should be
making sure that I wasn't confused with what it was.
Yeah.
And it should be vaguely descriptive, the ID.
Vaguely
so
descriptive.
That's the
right.
I usually like to use like just the first line of the question, or like a first few words of the actual part that would be the title of the question.
And the IDs do have to be unique to each question.
Or possibly the purpose. The purpose of the question.
Purpose is fine too, yeah.
Purpose is fine.
Yeah,
to give you a concept of what, here, I'll just do a quick screen share. So here, for example, is...
We're not seeing your screen yet. Okay.
No, not yet. It took a second. So here, for example, is just, this is on the testing server. And these are the IDs here for the 209A. So I can see that for this time period, the IDs we captured were only basic questions 68 times, and then there's a drop off. It looked like only 7 people got all the way through, or at least got to these IDs. The problem is I think we are missing some IDs, so it's not a this isn't actually a complete picture of the interactions. But that just gives you an idea. And if you want to see, fun, let me give you the website that went up yesterday. And of course, you always have to reload this because it doesn't actually remember.
David, how do you interpret that with the different, is it?
So the way it works is you can do a couple different ways. The thing that will become most useful at some point when we have all the IDs is there's a behavior flow that actually allows us to see people came in on this page, went to that page, then went to that page.
Do you think it's maybe because people were just so excited to check it out? They didn't necessarily have like a case in front of them, but they just were excited to check it out. So they kind of just went in and played around and then.
Yeah, I think that goes back for a while. And also we didn't have IDs on it until quite recently, right? And so basically it's a combination of what you said, the fact we didn't have IDs on it until after we'd actually done a lot of the testing already, and the fact that we still don't have IDs on everything. So it's not a complete picture in a couple different ways. For the site, for the I don't know, this is just fun to show you. So here's That must be May visiting us.
Oh, that little hot there.
Yeah, but this not many people are getting to us through the website, and here are some folks across the country, and then we can. And this is just for the landing page, and then here's Massachusetts. Most folks are right around
Didn't
here in
you have
Boston.
a high concentration in Alaska?
I'm not sure about
What?
high.
It was dark blue.
Is that Abby or what?
I was saying it's Abigail, but she's in the middle of a mine, so she's got no signal. I don't know who it is.
Oh well, so it's not that
Holy
Alaska's
cow.
bright blue. It's just that the United States.
The whole United States.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay.
So if we go into yeah, actually we don't see anyone.
Okay. I just tend to notice when Alaska's highlighted,
Yeah, but here's within the states. You can see obviously we're big in Massachusetts. So one of the things I have out to the court today is part of the MOU does say that they will put a link to the individual forms on their website. So the TRO is the only form for which that is the case right now. So because it's the only completed form that's not in beta, that was on the list of things they said they wanted. So I'm going to put out to them and see how that goes. But that actually should probably include, that I think is going to be our primary driver of traffic. That, and once forms make it onto something like Mass Law Reform or other places.
Okay, that's really interesting to see. I've never really looked at that kind of stuff before. So please keep us posted on that. Right. Is there anything else that we need to talk about today? Does anybody else want to? I'm going to open the floor. No. Michelle.
Oh, I'm thinking of saying, sorry, I'm very tired right now. If we want to do some checks for the court locator, we're setting up, we have a process to do that. So if people do want to give a half an hour or so to that, that would be very useful. Just get in touch with me or Quentin.
Yeah,
I don't want to volunteer Quentin, but
are you talking about for testing, Michelle?
Yes, but not, but this is a different kind of test. This isn't in our, this isn't like a form flow test exactly.
Okay.
I'm thinking that maybe if Sinead and Finola finish, the rest of your stuff tomorrow, you can just reach out and see if that needs work. If you're kind of looking for something to do, that might be a good thing. The other thing is obviously tomorrow is Casual Friday. It's Nick's favorite day because that's his first. Just talking about.
Just to be clear, we don't need one person for half an hour. We need several people for a half an hour or an hour. So if one person takes it up, still put your name in the hat because we still need more people. Sorry, keep going. Casual Friday. Yes.
Casual Friday, guys. So bring those fun backgrounds. You don't have to, obviously, but if it would be nice just to, I don't know what the topic's going to be. We'll figure out something. But yeah, so otherwise, no, Caroline, you're muted. It can't be rock climbing, Caroline, no.
We don't have to have a topic. Didn't we say we don't have to have a topic?
No, we don't have to have a topic, but it might be easier to make, otherwise it's very difficult to have these kind of like organic. The other thing that they suggested was breakout rooms, where we kind of have smaller groups of people together. It's, I don't know.
I think we're only like 3 weeks away from playing games of charades. So
if you want games, I've got other games we can play.
I was just thinking that we should do like a group game, but
Quentin's a Scrabbler.
Yeah.
Games other than Scrabble. If anyone's heard of Code Names or Space Team, or if anyone wants to go head to head with Quentin.
I want to do it, but then every time I think, okay, I'm ready, I can do it. Then I come up with like the worst words. My new word is SUQ.
SUQ.
Yep, that's a good one. Yeah.
Thanks, Martin. I'm coming for you. Coming for your crown. Okay,
wow.
So
yeah.
Problems with
that. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It seems a little weird to say like maybe we could do breakout rooms with games, but I don't know. We can let it try to develop organically, or if people want to have it, we could have a game night one night if people just want to have a game night one night. But
we can have suggestions as well. Maybe that's a good idea. We can open up to suggestions, especially if you guys know of other kind of teams that are having to collaborate remotely, how you kind of interact and have some kind of team culture.
We could have a retreat.
You're already doing like exchange, like volunteer exchange. It's gonna be fun.
We're going to help people set up their hammocks, and we will have a retreat.
Okay, so
Inside or
that's
outside
one
the
of those
house.
trust
We'll make it
fall
happen.
exercises.
Oh,
You know.
oh my God, yeah.
A ropes course.
Yeah, that's what I was
obstacle
thinking.
courses.
A ropes
Yeah.
course.
Let me
Okay,
just throw in my readability tip for today is
Of
to
course.
avoid adverbs. An adverb, as particularly in this instance where you use an adverb to describe an adjective. Like if something is important, it's important. It doesn't have to be very important, because very important kind of takes away from the meaning of important. And so things like, and in our conversation, you know, I grew up with an English, I grew up with an English teacher / readability teacher for a mother. So my own pet peeve is using I when you should use me.
Okay.
Completely, that's just for internal communication. But I think the thing is very important. And if we go through our interviews, if you ever see an adjective describing another, I mean, it's not an adjective, it's an adverb. But if you ever see a word describing an adjective, then just keep the adjective, but drop the word that's described. And very important is the one that I think is most obvious.
Well, thank you for the tip and the example.
You're saying.
Caroline,
Quentin, what were you saying?
Just to be clear, it's like instead of saying very important, we would say important. That's the example.
Yeah.
Not very. Thanks, Quentin. It's very.
Caroline, do you happen to have like a readability app or something that you like to use? Something like the Hemingway app?
Yeah. So there's two. There's
like this is what.
I'll put it in the UX. Should I put it in the UX channel or just the assembly line channel?
I think the UX channel. Is everybody a member of that channel? If not, you can
I think people are more likely to see assembly line, but I can put it in the UX channel and then link to it in assembly line. I could do that.
I was just thinking because the adverb thing reminded me that the Hemingway app does that,
Well,
so that's the thing I just threw in the chat.
So the thing is, I just want to. It's easier to say it rather than write it, but I use two. I use one called Story Tools to actually evaluate, to give me the level. I use what Hemingway will do. It will illustrate where the difficult parts are, but you can't rely on Hemingway to give you an accurate grade. And then Story Tools takes, I think it's like 12 different evaluation tools, and then gives you an average. So the two of them work together. You want to work to the lowest grade you can get. We're aiming to get between 4th and 6th grade. But Hemingway helps because it identifies what the issue is. Like, is the problem, say you get an 11th grade piece of text. How do you even begin to know what to do? So you might have adverbs, you might have long sentences, you might have big words, you might have, I don't think it points out participial phrases and gerunds, but those are other things that we need to, I'm going to try and do a little lesson on those because those are somewhat complicated. But yes, I'll put those two URLs in the UX, and I'll link to it from assembly line.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Caroline. And just know that Caroline is proofing all of your Slack chats as well. So
yeah, I can't help it.
I'm joking. She's gonna give you a thumbs down or like a score out of 5 on your messages. So you're gonna use proper sentence. Anyways, okay, I've taken up enough of your time. Can I just, David, do you have a meeting on straight after this, or?
I do not.
Jody's also just dropped a link in. Do you have a meeting in this chat now, David?
I'm saying I do not.
Oh, sorry, you don't. Okay. Can we just take this call for 5 minutes to talk to Mia and Vinny about the testing test scenarios? Otherwise, everyone else, we'll see you tomorrow.
And this is going to be a not stand up, so I'm going to stop the recording, right?
Yeah, perfect.